Hi, I'm Gemma McCamley, and you're listening to Her Sport Energia AIL Rugby Show, brought to you by Energia. Think of the possibilities.
Welcome back to the Her Sport Energia AIL Rugby Show, brought to you by Energia. My name is Alanna Cunnane, and I'm once again joined by former Irish international Hannah Tyrrell. We're into the business end of it now, Hannah.
Down to the final weeks, and I think every team is fighting for the inches and the last few points they can get to try moving up to the top of the league table, in the hopes of obviously winning the ultimate prize at the end of it.
Definitely. Well, plenty to look forward to anyways. We've a rescheduled game week and then 3 rounds and then that's it then. So getting very, very exciting. We also had the announcement this week that the Energia AIL finals will be a double header in the Aviva Stadium. So that's new and exciting news there, Hannah.
Yeah, look, I think it's about time. The men's finals have been there for the last number of years, and everybody wants to play on the best facilities and pitches that are available, and it's brilliant for women's rugby to progress and be given that parity with the men's teams, and it's another, I suppose, incentive for teams to try and get there. Next step now is to get the Irish women's team back there. It's been around 10 years since they played their one and only fixture against Italy, so it would be really nice if that's the next step, and it's something we see in the future.
It is such a draw, isn't it? Especially for these AIL players, Energia AIL players, because, as you say, even with the Irish team, a lot of the players haven't got to play there, and then this could be the opportunity.
Yeah, look, it's a huge stadium, and obviously it's a gorgeous pitch. It's a carpet practically, and when you're playing on club pitches week in, week out, which with the weather that we have, can be quite challenging and tricky despite the best efforts of volunteers. It's brilliant, and it's a great way to try and drive more fans to get in and watch the games, particularly with it being a double header with the men's. Hopefully you'll get more eyes watching the women's game and show what talent is out there.
For sure, and there definitely is plenty of talent on show. You can catch that one on Sunday, April 28th, and tickets will be available next week, so be sure and get in there for those. Someone we might see there, I'm sure, is UL Bohs. 3 games to go, 13 games played so far, 13 games unbeaten. Will they go the whole season unbeaten, do you think?
I'm sure they're aiming to. Look, they've been the best team in the league so far, and looking at it now, they're a very worthy team to be at the top. I think they will go unbeaten. That's quite difficult for me to say, trying to put my bias aside, but as I said, they've been the best team so far. Still, I wouldn't want them to get complacent, and thinking that they have this. And I suppose with the format being that way, it doesn't really matter if you finish top or not, because you still have to go on and try and win a playoff final and knockout rounds and stuff like that. Anything can happen, but in fairness to them, they have been the best and most consistent side who've beaten everybody and put everybody to the sword, I suppose, in the last 13 matches, and they're deserved top spot at the minute.
Definitely, with no semi-finals just this year, straight to the final, it'll definitely be paying off, and you want to be in that second spot up against them. We were actually down in UL Bohs yesterday. It was great to see everything that they're about, and one thing that really struck me, Hannah, was, like you say, they're not going to get complacent. Fiona Hayes will definitely be ensuring it won't happen, because one thing that I noticed was, while they're obviously winning and they're on this run, she's always picking out things that they can do better, and she's like, we're not playing up to our potential yet at all. That's a scary thought, really.
Yeah, but I suppose it's a sign of a good team and sign of a good coach that, they don't get complacent, they don't run away with themselves a little bit. Look, they have been fantastic so far, but I think every team knows that regardless of how well they perform, there are always improvements to be made. And with 3 games to go, anything can happen. And there is a little bit of jostling going on in the top 4, in particular positions-wise. And so, Fee Hayes and all those down at UL Bohs want to make sure that they're assured of that top 2 finish. And that at the end of the day, there's still that final to be won, and they've no silverware as yet that they want in this championship. So they'll keep pushing on, and I think that's the right attitude and the right way to go about it.
For sure, you could see that in them anyways. We'll be hoping the Irish women's team have the same attitude come the Women's Six Nations. That's coming your way at the end of this month. Fantasy rugby is also back in action, so it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Do you have any top picks for that, Hannah?
Yeah, look, I love getting involved again. I think it's a brilliant initiative that we've seen. There's obviously been the Men's Fantasy League for a number of years, and when this was introduced a while back, I think it's another way to draw more fans into the game and try and get to know more players from every team, because I think particularly, we obviously focus on Irish players and all the rest, but there's some very talented players out there. For me, I haven't seen her play yet because she's been out for a very long time, but Emily Scarrett has returned from a long injury and is back in the England squad. I don't know how close to getting minutes and stuff she'll be, but if she plays, she's certainly a pick to look out for. And in the centre partnerships there with her, I'm absolutely putting Gabrielle Vernier in there, best player for me in last year's Six Nations and one to watch. But it's the forwards and the and the pack that do all the heavy lifting, so to speak, for the backs to flourish. So the likes of Marley Packer, would be huge. Obviously, I'd love to pick someone like Derv Nicovard there, but Tricky McMahon Adele would be one that always puts herself about and is sure to pick up a few points for you.
I'm sure. Can't wait for that one to kick off. We'll actually have some Six Nations content for you at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that with Linda Djougang and Brittany Hogan. Turning back to the Energia AIL though, this is the table heading into the final few weeks. So as we mentioned there, UL Bohs at the top, 13 games played, 13 wins, followed by Railway Union and Old Belvo. Really still in the hunt there. It's looking quite tight on it.
Yeah, and look, what obviously isn't there in that table is the try bonus points that is actually ultimately providing that difference there. Unfortunately, there was one game where All Belvedere managed to get the win but not the try bonus, and so they're 1 point behind. But it makes it exciting. It makes the last few rounds really exciting. Both teams really pushing on. Unfortunately, Blackrock have had a tough couple of weeks and so have probably pushed themselves outside of the running. But that's what you want, I suppose, at the end of the league. You don't want it to be a kind of a dead rubber, so to speak, and then everything's wrapped up already, particularly when it's a final two, that progress in. So, yeah, both teams will be pushing, trying to put out their strongest squads, despite obviously missing key players through the international window over the next couple of weeks. But I suppose a real test of resilience and courage for these youngsters who might be getting an opportunity now, and a test of, strength and depth in squads.
It's no doubt going to come down to the wire. We'll go through a few of those talking points now. So just to look at it as well, Blackrock College obviously they're on 37, Ballincollig on 27, followed by Setonians on 18, Galwegians with 13, Wicklow on 6 and Cook on 6 as well. We're heading into the game weeks then. We'll have a look at a few of the fixtures we had came across since we last spoke. So Setonians played Old Belvedere, Old Belvo coming out 39-12 winners, UL Bohs 28-7 over Cook, Galwegians 14-10 over Blackrock. That's probably the pick of that round there. And then Wicklow 32-24 over Ballincollig. To start with the Old Belvo fixture there, Hannah, 7 tries in comparison to Setonians 2. A good way to keep them in the hunt?
Yeah, look, obviously they knew coming into this that every point in every game was massively important, and that, as I said, the try bonus and really pushing to attack for those tries could be a key feature in them making it to the final. And I suppose I've just been so impressed. Look, all sides are missing, or most sides are missing international players due to the Six Nations starting soon, but I think for Old Belvedere, they're just able to produce some really good young talented players who maybe aren't quite at the level of international right now, but certainly have the potential to do so. And then they managed to keep some really good seasoned club players who have a lot of provincial and maybe even Celtic Cup challenge experience, that they're able to kind of gel and mould that all together. And one young player, she scored a couple of tries in that game, Emma Tilley. She's been in and out of sevens kind of development squads and in and out of a little bit of 15s, but she's really showing her worth there. She's she's quite slight, but she doesn't look out of place on the field. She's really fast and has really good feet. I'll talk about her a little bit more when we look at the next round of games, but she's just a really exciting prospect, and she's slotted in there. She's playing a bit of fullback, playing a bit of wing, but like they're already missing the likes of Katie Corrigan, who plays very similar position, and to be able to just have someone else to step up and essentially fill that role is fantastic. And when internationals do come back, to have the two of those in a back three is quite frightening, particularly when you have the return of Jenny Murphy in the centres, to be able to get them some good ball.
Definitely. And speaking of the Celtic Challenge there, Cook had Kelly McCormill come back. I'm sure they would have been looking to kind of channel her experience into the UL Bohs game. Tough to do it, obviously, against the league leaders, but still a good performance for them against UL Bohs.
Yeah, look, obviously coming into it on paper, you look at it and UL Bohs were obviously fancied and did end up running away with it a little bit more. I think one thing you have to look at with UL Bohs, and it's probably been talked about a little bit, is they don't have that many international players anymore, despite how well they are actually playing as a team. And I think that's benefiting them, that they are consistently have the same squad, getting plenty of reps under their belt and getting to know each other and trust and play off each other. But they also have that experience, the likes of Chloe Pearce, and Fee Hayes knowing this squad and having come through it, obviously doing really well. And they have a young 9 in there, Abby Salter-Townsend, are doing really, really well. Kind of running the show a little bit and picking up the tempo for them. And it's unfortunate for Cook, obviously sitting at the bottom of the table, and they've tough games like UL Bohs coming to them. But I suppose that's the nature of the top league, women's league in Ireland, and they'll be just trying to, as I say, always take the positives from those games and improve upon it, and be thankful that they ended up getting a score and that were rewarded for their hard work.
Looking on to the next then, Galwegians 14-10 over Blackrock. This is definitely the talking point of that game week.
Yeah, look, I've spoken about it. I'm sure Dave Clark is absolutely chuffed with that one. You look at how tough a season I suppose it's been for Galwegians. They've had a lot of change going through, but in fairness to them in that game in particular, Orla Dixon, Grace Brown-Moran getting over the try line for them, and have been kind of stalwarts for them. And I know Grace Brown-Moran's still quite young, but I feel like she's been around quite a long time, and to have players like that who will stand up and kind of drag your team through it, and this is a huge confidence booster for them. Yes, I suppose Galwegians won't take it with a pinch of salt, but everybody else probably looking at that result will, because Blackrock, when you look at the squad that was available to them and the amount of, let's say, first team starters that are missing due to various other commitments, particularly international duty, you maybe understand how that result has gone there, but I don't want to take anything away from Galwegians. They deserved their win there. They held on, they had to battle for it, and they were made to work for it, and that's some valuable points there to just give them a bit of a boost heading into the last few rounds.
Especially it being so close, the 14-10, it's probably worth mentioning as well, conversions from Emma Keane. That's probably something they've been missing this last while, and something they've been looking to capitalise on. Yeah,
look, we spoke about Nicole Fowley and how big a player she is for them, but also how she runs the team, but how her kicking. And obviously she's been out injured, and now she's back in the Irish squad, and so has been unavailable to them for, I think, practically the whole season. And so to have someone else be able to step up who maybe hasn't quite got that experience and to nail those to get the win, again, just gives you that morale boost, that confidence boost, and it's showing that your coaching is working, that you're able to develop players to step up in these big game moments.
Interestingly as well, Wicklow 32-24 over Ballincollig. A win for Wicklow and Galwegians. It's their first Energia AIL win since November and December, so they'll really be looking to bring that into the last final few games.
Yeah, and that was always going to be a fairly tight affair. Both Ballincollig and Wicklow would be very disappointed, I suppose, in some aspects of how the season has gone. And for Wicklow, probably a huge sigh of relief to finally actually get that win, because there's been some quite tight games they've come out on the wrong side of. And for them, they're still a very young club, only in AIL, a couple of years, and still trying to develop players to the level that's required. But fair play to them, well worth it. I'm sure they're delighted. Ballincollig, on the other hand, would be very disappointed to let that go in what seems to have been a very high scoring and free flowing game. And I suppose it's when it gets to that point that whose defence is going to come out on top, and who can kind of hold their nerve a bit. And Wicklow will be delighted that it was them in this case.
Something I actually noticed on Ballincollig's Instagram as well, 4 sets of sisters playing in that team. Claire Coombs, Gillian Coombs, Ellie Cunnane, Anna Kate Cunnane, Ciara Fleming, Aoife Fleming, and then Ciara Fitzgerald and Lorelei Baker among them. A bit of a family affair there.
Yeah, look, but isn't that nice, I suppose? And that's kind of what the rugby community is all about. And, you know, I never really, I got to play with my sister once through GAA, but I can imagine that's a pretty amazing experience. And to get obviously, you know, just to have so many sets of sisters seems a bit unfathomable, but it's brilliant. And particularly the Coombs sisters, they obviously have a very famous and well-known brother in Gav Coombs doing really, really well for Munster. So I'm sure there's a lot of family and sibling rivalry there going about who can put in the best performances.
Yeah, I'd love to see the games in their back garden. But moving on then, March 9th, we saw Blackrock take on UL Bohs. UL Bohs narrowly edging out in that one, and that one could prove very decisive come the end of the season. Railway with a big win over Ballincollig, 63-10. Old Belvo overcoming Galwegians, 72-12. And then Setonians, 24-3 over Cook. I suppose we have to start with the Blackrock UL Bohs game, Hannah. Aoife Corey with the winning try in the dying embers. That one, as I say, could prove crucial come the end of the season.
Yeah, and look, it ultimately will prove crucial from a negative point of view for Blackrock, because it has pushed them outside the potential to get into the top two. And it's unfortunate because it was such a close game, and that's probably the closest that UL Bohs have been run all year, and the amount of pressure that they're putting in, they're obviously winning until that late try, and a difficult one, I'm sure, for Blackrock to take, particularly when Blackrock were the home team. You know, they would have felt like they had done enough to get that win, and I suppose not knock UL Bohs off top spot, but maybe knock a bit of a smile off their face per se. But credit to UL Bohs, they stuck in there, and you know, they were just rewarded for that with the try at the end. And again, you look at the Blackrock team missing some very much key players, whereas UL Bohs have had that steady same core of players. Yes, they are missing a few through injury and all the rest, but credit to them. You know, that's what the top teams do. They dig out a result even maybe when they probably haven't performed to their best ability. So they'll be delighted travelling back down the road, getting that one over the belt and staying unbeaten.
I'm sure, yeah. And then obviously as well, like you mentioned, Blackrock needed that win to kind of stay in contention. Having not done that and being the reigning champions this season, that must be very, very disappointing. How do you think they'll evaluate that overall?
Yeah, look, they'll look at this season as very, very disappointing. You know, and there will be positives to take. I'm sure they've given a massive amount of game time and exposure to a lot of other players who may not have seen as much, you know, had there not been so many internationals and the Celtic Cup Challenge and all the rest. So there are positives for that in terms of a long-term squad development and strength and developing players, which ultimately will help benefit Irish rugby as a whole. But from a club perspective, to be reigning champions after a couple of years of trying and knocking about as the top two teams or one of the top two teams, to potentially and most likely not making even the final this year is a huge, huge blow to them, and they'll have to go off in the off-season and reevaluate. I will say, outside of, you know, the fact they're missing players through international commitments and whatever else, themselves and Railway have been struck, as the whole country has, by a lot of their girls emigrating off to other pastures, and that's another thing that we're fighting with, I suppose, at the end of the day. Why play rugby in the rainy shores of Ireland when you could be over in Oz or New Zealand where it's lovely and sunny and play rugby instead? So that does hit you hard, and it can be quite tough to take on that, but credit to Bohs. You know, as I say, that's what the good teams do.
With that said as well, while they won't be in contention for that second spot, they can still have an effect on things. I'm sure Old Belvo will be hoping they do them a favour against Railway coming up. Yeah,
look, obviously what you hope doesn't happen now with those teams who are potentially out the running is that they kind of fade off a little bit now that the opportunity to make the final and go on and win the league is gone. But yeah, they'd probably be rubbing their hands together going, we have an opportunity here to mess things up for another team. So I'm hoping they side with Old Belvedere and decide to do them a favour and beat Railway. But sure, look, who knows? It's always a feisty affair, always something to look forward to, and a lot of rivalry there and a lot of players who know each other very well. So yeah, it should be a good game.
Railway then, on the other hand, coming out 63-10 over Ballincollig. As I say, every point now at this stage is could be absolutely vital.
Yeah, look, we look at Old Belvedere as well, and both teams putting up huge scores. respectively against two of other teams in the league. And for Railway, I suppose, as we mentioned, that try bonus could potentially be the difference between making the final or not. And for them, they were just free scoring. In the first half, they actually hadn't really motored a little bit, but they end up really kicking on. And, to put up that amount of points, Maddie Agberg got 5 tries, I think it was, which is incredible for any game. Some players would only love to score 1 try in a game, and she strolls in 5. So, look, they're really pushing for it. They'll keep knocking and trying to get as many points as they can over the next 3 weeks. But they were far too good on the day and deserved the win.
As I say, 5 tries there. 5 tries for Emma Tilley too in the next one, 17-12 over Galwegians. You were touching on her brilliance there earlier.
Yeah, look, again, 5 tries, what can you say? And a really, really dominant performance by Old Belvedere against a Galwegian side who, had gotten this big victory the week before against Blackrock and would come into this with confidence, and then unfortunately, come up against a team who just were that much better on the day. And in fairness to Belvo, they never stopped. And I think the same with Railway. Whoever you're playing, I think it's the utmost respect you can show to a team is to continue to score tries and not let up, and kind of have sympathy in that regard. And I think all Belvedere and Railway are doing that. And while obviously it's not nice to be on the other side of those defeats, I think it is important to recognise that if you have the ability to go and do it, go and score those tries. And Belvo were that much better on the day, unfortunately, for Dave Clark's Galwegians. And that's just something that Galwegians have to take on the chin a little bit and go, okay, wasn't quite there for us today. What were the difference this week and last week? And how do we try and get some consistent performances to try and get results?
That's not even to mention, of course, Jenny Murphy on the score sheet too. I think we need to take a shot every time we mention a former Irish international at this stage.
Yeah, look, I suppose there's so many players that have been capped by Ireland or been involved in Irish squads over the last few years that are no longer playing for various reasons, but are still giving so much to their clubs. And yeah, Jenny, she's probably played in various different positions. I think last year she was playing a little bit of number 8 and kind of in the back row a little bit, but she's back to her usual best at in her centre partnerships there. And look, she's been phenomenal for Ireland. She is a robust and very, very strong individual who I never ever liked tackling, and was very, very grateful that she was on my team an awful lot of the time. But if anyone's going to get you some go forward ball, it's definitely her. And if anyone's going to put in a big defensive performance, she's probably the purest tackler I've ever seen on the Irish team, and can certainly knock 1 or 2 people down. So I'm sure she had a big influence.
One to be wary of there. And then finally, to finish off that few game weeks there, Suetonians 24-3 over Cook in the JJ McDowell Memorial Grounds. That's the first time Suetonians have won since early December. That'll definitely be a bit of a confidence booster.
Yeah, Suetonians probably last year had an up and down kind of year, some really good positive results, and then fell away to where, a couple of times you thought they would have come out on top. And I think today, or this year in particular, it's pretty much similar enough. They've had a couple of disappointing performances, but this is definitely one to get them back on track. And they've been boosted over the last number of months of the return of Lauren Farrell McCabe. Her sister Kay Farrell McCabe was involved in the 7 squad for a number of years, and she loves to play with tempo, and the Suetonians way had always been offload and get moving, and she's playing at 10. She can play a little bit 9 and fullback, but just kind of pulling the strings a little bit, making things work. She got herself on the score sheet as well, and kind of setting up a few other players. And it's unfortunate for Cook, as I said, obviously 2 games and haven't got another win there, but for Suetonians it's something that's badly needed, and again they'll be hoping to push on the next couple of weeks.
Everyone will be hoping to push on in the next few weeks. But before we look at the upcoming fixtures, we have a short break now. The This or That Challenge Irish edition ahead of St. Patrick's Day. Stay with us on the Hersport Energia AIL show.
Sausage rolls or jambons?
Sausage rolls. Jambons.
Oh, sausage roll.
Sausage roll. Sorry.
Gaelic football or hurling?
Hurling.
Gaelic football. Gaelic football.
Hurling.
Lions or Barries?
Lions.
Oh, I'm not a tea gal, but I'll just say Lions.
Barry's.
Oh, Barry's. I'm from Cork.
Tea is just better.
Tato or king?
Oh, potatoes.
Tato.
Tato.
Oh, Tato.
City or country?
City.
Country.
City.
Oh, country. I'm a culture.
Spice bag or a chicken fillet?
Oh, spice bag. Chicken fillet roll. Spice bag.
Spice bag.
Train.
Train. Train.
Train. We've no trains in Cork.
Westlife.
Oh, Westlife.
You too.
Westlife.
Eat spuds for every meal or never eat potato based.
Oh my god, I'm a culture, so spuds. Spuds.
Oh, eat potatoes for every meal.
Eat spuds for every meal.
Oh, easy. Eat spuds for every single meal.
Give me my spuds.
Spuds forever, the rhetoric there from Hannah. Welcome back to the Her Sport Energia AIL show. We hope you enjoyed that little break. A few tough questions there, Hannah.
Yeah, I know you have to side with the spuds. Who could go without their spuds? And they're so versatile. You can make so many things from them.
Definitely. Well, we'll have to run you through that challenge then at some stage. Before we do that, maybe we'll look at the fixtures coming up over the next while. So as we mentioned, 3 full game weeks go, but there's also rearranged fixtures this week. So this week we're going to see Blackrock versus Setonians, Railway against Wicklow, Cook against Old Belvo, and UL Bohs against Ballincollig. And then into the final 3 rounds. The first one is going to come on March 30th. Ballincollig take on Blackrock, Old Belvedere against Railway Union, Setonians against Galway, and then Wicklow versus Cook. Then the next week is on April 6th, Blackrock against Cook, Galwegians take on Wicklow, Old Belvedere versus Ballincollig, and Railway versus UL Bohs. And then to close out the season on April 13th, UL Bohs against Old Belvedere. That's going to be some game. Railway versus Blackrock. Again, the same could be said. Cook versus Galwegians, and then Wicklow versus Setonians. So plenty of games to come your way just there. It's going to be a tight few rounds of fixtures there, Hannah.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of fixtures there, obviously, that pop out. And again, when you're looking at the top of the table, the first one being with the table so tight and that Railway are up by a point on Belvo is the Railway Belvo game, you know, and that's where each team can, you know, really take it to themselves and not rely on other results and go, we're going to go a couple of points clear here and you know, leapfrog them or whatever else. But I think the good thing for the losing side on that particular week is that the next week there are some very, very tasty fixtures there, and that potentially other results can change things. But I suppose the wonderful nature of sport is that it's so unpredictable, and regardless of past form or current form or where you stand in the league table or which side on paper is stronger, you can never predict the actual outcome. And I hope we see some really exciting results that bring it down to the final day. Hopefully all Belvedere are already top and clear by then, so they're not involved in that. But yeah, it's the beauty of the league, you know, to have that where it's not a dead rubber, and it's really, really exciting. I think on the other end of that, the likes of Wicklow, Setonians, Ballincollig, Cook, they'd all be hoping that they could have a really good positive end to the season, so that they basically don't see their name at the bottom of it. Look, and there's no relegation or anything, there's no threat or fear of that, but it would be nice to not see your name on the bottom of that, particularly if you've had a quite challenging season to end on a high. So there's still loads to play for, a lot of rivalry there. A lot of these players know each other very, very well at this stage. So I'm really looking forward to an exciting end to the season leading up to obviously the final in the Aviva.
Yeah, you talk about dead rubbers there. It's such an interesting format in that even if you top the league, you still have to do the final. So it's all to play for yet.
Yeah, and like I think that's the beauty of it. You know, if this was just an out and out league table and at the end of 3 weeks someone would win, it probably takes the excitement out of it, because looking at the league table and UL Bohs are 10 points ahead, probably a win or two and almost guarantees it, like, you know, whereas nowadays every point counts, and even if you're in that top 2 you're not guaranteed to win anything. And unfortunately nobody really cares or remembers too much about who comes second, and so there's not only a job to do to get that top 2 and secure that place in the final, but then obviously to go on and can you perform on the big days and get your team over the line.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens in that one there. Before that, we also have the Six Nations coming your way at the end of this month. In preparation for that, we caught up with Linda Djougang and Brittany Hogan, and here they are here. So, Linda Djougang and Brittany Hogan, thanks so much for joining us here today. Six Nations fast approaching. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's been a while since the last Six Nations, so it's not quickly around the corner. And after the momentum that we built in Dubai in the WXV3, winning that, coming back with the trophy, it's really buzzing to get back in with all the girls and look forward to the games.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's that same as Brittany just mentioned. I think we came out of a high in Dubai, and we just kind of want to keep that momentum. Dubai kind of showed us what we're capable of, and as a team, we're really excited for Six Nations, especially this year. This Six Nations is really important to all of us. It's our route to qualify for the World Cup in 2025, so it's really exciting. So really excited about it, yeah.
And how important is that? Because obviously after the disappointment of last year and then looking ahead to this, it really is everything's going to be on the line and you're going to be geared up for it anyways.
Yeah, I think that's we spoke about our goals, and everybody's really aligned that the Six Nation is really important to us. But at the same time, we try not to push that much pressure. It's all about enjoying it and giving it all during Six Nation. But at the same time, we just never know what's going to happen. So we kind of want to take each game as it comes and just try to get better as a team and as players individually. So if it when it happens, it'd be amazing. But if it doesn't, we still have other route to take in. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. We want to show what we can actually do this year, especially with, like as Linda said, the high in Dubai. So we actually just want to go and showcase like what we can do in attack, what we can do in defence. Like Scott coming in has been brilliant. We've really gelled and come through some exciting group kind of what's the word? Attacking styles. Yeah. Thanks, Linda. So like we have other routes to qualify. So that is the most important thing, is to qualify for the 2025 World Cup. But if we don't at the moment, absolutely fine. We just need to keep building and keep trusting each other and building that kind of cohesion. So.
And I think it's so important for us to also wear the jersey with pride, and I think no matter what happened, the minute we put that jersey on, and we want to live in a better place and hopefully inspire the next generation that comes through. But our goal is to really leave the jersey in a better place, yeah.
And especially considering, like you're saying, under Scott, like things have got a lot more progressive in the XP3 series. You were so exciting to watch, so that's brilliant to see as well. How have things been under Scott, and what do you think's changed so far?
I think it's been amazing to have Scott there, and obviously each coach comes in with their different strategy, how they see the game, and Scott comes in with a massive experience, coming in with training, being a coach for the Red Roses, so he comes in with that where they're unbeatable at this stage. So that's where we hopefully want to be at, and he know how to get us there. So we kind of have to just trust the process and just give it everything. And also we just signed a new defensive coach there, Declan. So we really I feel like we're definitely growing as a team, and we have John who is still there as our forward coach, and Dennis as a scrum coach. So I think that as a team, we're just growing, and hopefully we can showcase everything that we have during the Six Nations.
Like our team is us, and it's our backroom staff. Like everybody's involved in our team. So Scott has built a great vibe, a great group around him, and he's showing that, and we can see that in front of us, and then we repeat it in our group. So that's kind of what the whole Green Wave thing is about, is that we're all there for each other and our collective success. But the main thing I think that Scott brings in anyway is that he really plays to our strengths. So we have such kicking game, kick chase game. We have really, really good, exciting attack. Like, we're smaller than some of our competitors, but that means that we have to move them about a little bit more. And what he really brings is that exciting game plan where he knows our super strengths and he lets us implement them. So I think that kind of excitement and that trust he has in us is something that you can feel it, so you actually express it. Yeah.
And especially considering like there has been such a change in the last number of years. I know I was looking up, Linda, I think I'm right in saying 32 caps for you. You're amongst the most experienced in the squad. How has that been like? Because obviously there was such a change there over the last few years, you know, Ciara Griffin, Nuka Friday, Lindsay Peat, Senna Nyopu, and then this new generation we have coming in. Like, it must be so exciting to kind of see both sides of it that way.
It's definitely exciting. I feel like starting my first cap in 2019 against England, I never really thought I'd get this far. I made to feel ancient. I I makes you feel Asian. But I'm only like 27, so but for me, that experience is what I can bring to this team, and especially during Six Nations, during those games, you definitely need someone that's been there before. It's really for me just inspiring to see the next like the Saf McGrath, Sarah Delaney coming through, and for me to be able to scrum with them and teach them, I think I'm still learning. I tell them every single day, like I'm still learning. But to be able to help them progress and really hold their hand through it all is amazing. I don't know, 32 cows. I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's just constantly just want to get better. Is that craving to just constantly want to learn, that eagerness to get on the field, to wear the green jersey, is a privilege. It doesn't come that often. So you just want to take the opportunity once given and show what you can do.
And for you, Brittany, like you're emerging into this team and have been a great player as things stand. And then looking forward, like you're trying to build leadership amongst this team. You know, Linda was chatting about it there, trying to pass on knowledge and get everybody hitting in the one direction, I guess. So how has that been for you?
Yeah, good. I feel like we have such a mixture of youth and experience. I wouldn't class myself as experienced, but like with my, I've been involved in our setup with the sevens since I was under 18. So like I have a lot of experience in that kind of high performance environment. But whenever the girls like Saif, Sarah, but even the girls who are actually experienced, Aoife Dalton has a huge amount of caps, Tash Behan has a huge amount of caps still, going on to 10. Like they come to you first for like advice or for knowledge on the game and stuff like that. So it's kind of, I still have to learn as well, because I know that I'm in that position, whereas sometimes I may doubt that I don't have the amount of knowledge that Linda has still, or that Sam or Tricky have. So it's kind of, I have to go to our Kane, our analyst, and make sure that what I'm saying is right. So I repeat to the girls is actually correct. But I'm a very vocal person, which the girls know. So they and hopefully in a positive way. But that's kind of where my leadership, I feel like, comes from. Is I'm very good at kind of seeing what's going on and kind of saying it. I don't really mind speaking my voice. So but yeah, that's where my experience kind of settles in, I suppose. That answers your question.
It definitely does, yeah. And then looking forward to it, Saturday the 23rd of March is D-Day for you guys. How do you think you'll get on overall in the tournament? Obviously some very tough opposition, but you'll be looking to get some wins under your belt too.
Yes, definitely. I think that we're all buzzing. We all have the 23rd in the calendar. And the 26th of February is our first training camp. So we're all buzzing for that, to get back together as a squad. Because after we finished Dubai, everyone kind of just went the Premiership in England. The girls left, and everyone went their own ways. It'd be really nice to kind of bring everybody back together and continue our green waves. But I'm really excited. I know our first game is in France, so it's never easy to play against the French. They're really powerful pack to play and such an experience. But at the end of the day, we, like Britt said about Scott's strategy, he played through our strength, and we know what we're good at, and we just really want to hopefully make them move around the park and showcase what we can do, what we've been doing. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a challenge, but that's what we want in order for us to get better, in order for us to qualify for a World Cup and to compete in the World Cup. We need to be able to compete at that level. We definitely think that the Six Nations is really the competition that we have to really compete against the best in the world. So I'm really excited to really put on the green jersey, hopefully put on the green jersey and play.
Yeah, I suppose it's really exciting, but we had the kind of mantra in Dubai where we went game on game. We kind of focused more towards our performance and what game plan we're going to implement depending on who we're playing. So like we have small tweaks to our game plan, our normal kind of super strengths, make sure that we maximize every single one of our talents and abilities. So but obviously, like the French is a big task. We haven't bet them in a long time, but and like you can't go in saying, oh, we're going to go in for we're going to go in and easily beat these people, because it's not going to be an easy competition. But it's that kind of, instead of going for the W's, instead of going for the points, it's kind of going for, right, what performance can we get? And if we perform and if we hit our markers during the game, then the W and the points will come out. So we are taking it one game at a time and kind of building on week. And hopefully at the end of it, if we meet our short-term goals, then our long-term goal will be completed. So
Perfect. Well, looking forward to it anyways. Thanks for joining us, guys, and best of luck.
Thank you for having us.
Great stuff there from Linda and Brittany. Looking ahead then to the Six Nations, Hannah, are you getting excited for that?
Yeah, I am. I feel like it's coming very, very quick. I was in with a couple of the 15s and 7 squad last week at a little camp they were doing with RPI, and they're full of excitement, really enjoying the training and the build up, and the camp work, and getting some of the girls over from the English Premiership. And it's going to be really exciting, because obviously Scott has had a lot of time now to bed in his ideas, his values, how they want to play, and what players are going to play where. So first of all, I'm looking forward to seeing who's in that first 23 and who's lucky enough to get an international jersey. And then secondly, we have a very, very daunting challenge in our first game away to France. So how we approach that game, how we decide to play in that game is going to be hugely, hugely challenging, but exciting to watch.
No doubt. Well, we'll have plenty of content coming your way, Six Nations wise as well as Energia AIL wise. We're wrapped up for today though, so thanks to Hannah for joining us once again, and we'll catch you in the next episode.